Okay, guys, so this is our second episode ever with our first interviewee, Dennis. We invited him out on the podcast for a few different reasons. Dennis has started multiple businesses and truly embodies the everyday hustle. Dennis has had an individual impact on all three of our lives in different areas. Dennis has also taught us what it means to truly hustle. We talk about goal setting, not allowing fear to consume you in making entrepreneurial decisions, his trip through the Corsa Rally, and knowing the importance of nurturing the relationships in your life that will benefit you the most. This was only our second sitting as a group behind the mic. We felt a deeper connection with one another during this session, and we really felt the vibe of the show come to the surface. We hope you enjoy this episode as much as we enjoyed recording it. Remember to subscribe and leave a rating. If you have any questions or would like to come on the show, please email grind@theeverydayhustleshow.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Everyday Hustle Show. My name is Christian. Over here to my left, we have Jesse.
Hello.
Over on the far side, we have Andrew.
Yeah.
And tonight we have a very special edition, our first interviewee, Dennis.
Hi.
And I am extremely excited. I mean, we've been talking about doing this, having interviews and doing this for a little bit. And, I think it is definitely fitting for our first one to have Dennis on the show tonight. we've known Dennis for a while. And I think I met Dennis through Andrew a while back, going to like local shows, going to hardcore/metal shows. And, just kind of, I think it's been like 4 years now, something like that.
4 or 5.
4 or 5 years. And the format is going to be very, very simple, very basic. Just like every interview, just have some questions and kind of open it up and see where this takes us. So, my first question, Dennis, I just want to know, what were you thinking about on your way over here? If anything specific, were you listening to any, songs to pump you up, wind you down if you're nervous or anything, or?
No, not necessarily. I mean, Drew kind of told me I was going to speak on the podcast, and I initially said, no way, I'm not going to. And then, you sit and you think about it, and when people put their passion into it, say, Drew really is excited about this, I think a year from now I would regret not doing it, not being a part of it. And, music-wise, whatever is on,
Right,
like,
nothing specific.
He was listening to 2 Chainz. Come on.
No, it wasn't 2 Chainz.
Lil Chingy.
No, I'm on Young Dolph.
It's not even a person.
I'm listening to Dolph, Young Dolph.
Okay.
And the new Jeezy album just
Dolph
came out.
Lundgren. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
why
solid dude.
You said that originally you didn't want to do the podcast just because any like specific reason, or?
I don't
Dennis
know.
doesn't like people.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of people in general. Like humans, right?
Humans generally suck.
Like, I'm not a huge fan of humans. I'm a fan of the people in my life that I choose to be there, but I'm not a huge fan of humans.
And dogs.
I
No.
love dogs. I love my dog.
Come on, dude.
If it was a podcast of just dogs interviewing me, like, I would have been here before you even asked.
That's an idea to be later discussed.
Yeah, have some dogs on the show.
like dogs, like the poker scene, but they all have mics and
Yep.
they're doing the podcast. but in, I just don't. There's like that nervous feeling of getting in front of them, like it's awkward. The feeling of discomfort. I've never done this, so it's just easier for me to say no, I don't want to, and come up with a lame excuse than actually just do something.
Right. Well, no, I'm definitely happy that you're here, man. Just so, because even actually it's something I've wanted to know for a while too. Like, what does an average day look like for you?
I wake up every morning and I'm like, why? Why again? Why another fucking day? No, I mean, it really, I fluctuate. I don't have an average day. That's the thing. Like, I can go through stints where I sleep okay, I go through motions, I wake up, before my alarm goes off, and I get showered, go to work, do my thing, come home, have dinner with my wife and go to sleep, and I feel very, scheduled that way. And then there's times where I go through moments where I don't want to wake up for my alarm, I don't want to go to work, and I'm dragging my feet looking for some excuse not to do it. And then there's also other parts where, and then I just don't sleep.
Right.
It's like, so I'll go through phases where, you know, I'm waking up at 7, you know, and going to work and then coming home and then not going to sleep until maybe like 3, 4 in the morning. And that's not, you know, anxiety, things like that. I go through these motions where I'm thinking about what's next, or, you know, what's going on in my life, and, you know, am I happy, am I not, trying to put the pieces together every single day to figure it out. And sometimes you suppress it,
Right.
and those are the average days, you know, that you're asking me about, is the wake up, go to work. Those are times where I'm just in the motions, and then, you know, you get a spark, you know, and you get a little passion going on, and those are the days where I'm getting 3 hours of sleep and constantly in my head trying to put the pieces together.
And what brings that spark? What provides you that like passion? Because I know you've had now what, 2 of your own company. I mean, I've worked for you for 2 of those companies, but
Probably, I guess 2, 3 different companies, from, you know, start to finish to acquisition to sale. You know, we can put it this way: the last 5 years, I haven't been dependent on somebody else to provide for me or my family. You know, what sparks those moments of the 3-hour nights of sleep? It could be something as simple as seeing somebody else get fired up about something they're doing, right? Or, you know, meeting somebody and realizing that, you know, wow, what they said, you know, I've never met this person before, but I really like what they have to say. And it's kind of making me reevaluate where I'm at, and am I okay? That's kind of what keeps me up at night. Am I okay? And it usually comes back to, I'm never okay with where I'm at.
Right.
I can't stand still, because I feel like if I'm standing still, I'm moving backwards. You know, so any little thing, whether it's a sign on the side of the road that made me go on a crazy brain train, you know, to think about something else, and a million things come together to, like, you know what, maybe I can do this while I'm doing my day-to-day right now. And those things spin around like crazy. And if you look at, like, my notebooks on my desk, or, you know, on my nightstand, you know, or notepad on my MacBook, there's random crazy nonsense scribbled all over the place, stuff that doesn't make sense, doodles, everything, because when I'm in those 3-hour sleep days, I put everything down. And even if it doesn't make sense, I just kind of put it down to just let it out, because you'll forget, or let it consume you.
Yeah.
You know, and you just kind of sit in your shit.
Christian's been texting. We have a group about the podcast. He's been texting all these ideas, and after he'll go on like a 5-minute rant about this and that and the other, and we got to do this, we got to do that. I said, did you write it down? You know, because if you don't write it down, you're gonna forget it.
Yeah, I know we had a talk the other day.
Yeah.
You know, Andrew walks in my office, and you can tell, like, you know, chest out, walking straight. He's got a pep in his step, and he's really fired up about what's going on and potential opportunity, you know, and knowing that I don't know where it's going to go, but it's not going to go anywhere unless I start it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel really happy that Drew could come and just walk into my office and be like, dude, I got all this stuff going on. I'm really excited about it. I don't know what to do, this and that. And I just kind of looked at it and I was like, write it down. Get a notebook.
And I still
throw it.
haven't.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
But throw it down. Notepad. We have a notepad on.
Right,
You know,
on your
everybody in
phone.
here has an iPhone. You
Why
can
is
just
it though?
put
Like
down.
those kind of things are so hard to do. Like it's easy to be like, oh yeah, just like write down ideas, but then like so many of us just don't do that shit in our everyday life. We just get caught up with like the everyday hustle of life, you know, and not remembering to like do little things like that can help us execute ideas.
Those things are like the hard to start, easy to maintain type of thing. It's just like
It's just like good habits, life habits.
It's easy not to.
It's
Right.
definitely easy not to.
All right, and you know it's easy to take the path of least resistance. And if someone's telling me to do something, the easiest thing for me to do is not do it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and then a week later we'll be sitting here talking about it, and he goes, "You know what? I still didn't do it."
It applies to so many different areas of life too.
How often do you journal, or do you just like there's no?
I don't
real-
journal. There's no rhyme or reason.
Oh,
You would
okay.
have no idea. It would look like the Da Vinci's Code if you looked at my notebook.
So it's just a bunch of just like random.
It could be a scribble line across the
Right.
entire page. I could just scribble in one spot. I need to get my head in order,
Okay.
right? So I look at things like, okay, here's not necessarily an end goal, but something I want
Right.
to get to.
Right.
And this is something I actually talked to Drew about when he was saying I have all these thoughts going on in my head. I could compare it to like a puzzle, right?
Right.
When you take a puzzle and you see the picture completely done on the front of the box, you know what it's supposed to look like and you want to get to that point, right? And again, just like writing it down, it's easier just not to open the box or do it. So, we dump that box out all over the pieces, all over the table. We have to start at one place, right?
Right.
So we start at the edges. We start at the edge of the puzzle. We work all the way around till we get the border, right? And these are, I compare it to the thoughts that are going in my
Right.
head. So like my notebook, scribbling this type of stuff down. And then each piece, you find where that piece goes over time. You never just sit in one hit and do, a puzzle. It's usually over a period of time. And it's a process, right? A puzzle's a process. But once it's done, you can look at that completed picture, and now you remember where each one of those pieces went, why,
Right.
and when they went into the place that they went, right? You didn't know when you were going to find that piece to put it there. It went there when you found it on its own terms,
Right.
as long as you were doing the work to do it. So I guess that's the easiest way to explain. My notebook might not mean anything, but it gives me time to organize and put the pieces to the puzzle in my head together.
You kind of gave me that similar analogy, or like we were talking about something on that 7-hour portion of the trip back from Alabama.
Yeah.
And I was like telling you, like, I'm having a little bit of a rough time right now just because I had all these different things going on in my life. And you're like, well, listen, man, you know what, like, the whole picture of what your goal is, like, looking towards. But, like, sometimes it can be overwhelming being like, oh, my God, like, I got to get all of this in order, But you're like, just section it off and start, like, with the corner of the puzzle, and just, like, chip away at the sections of it till it all eventually adds up to the final, like, finished product.
Yeah, and that
should
brings
help me
up
a lot, man.
that brings up a good point, and that's actually the next thing I want to ask you is, what is one of your goals right now? Like the next 6 to 18 months? Do you have like anything specific in mind?
You know what? I don't set short-term goals. I don't set long-term goals. To be honest, I don't. So you could say I don't set any goals, and it's not because I have lack of desire or lack of drive to accomplish things in my life. I personally feel if I was to set a goal, by the time I get to that goal, if I'm only focused on that goal and I complete it, then I'm going to sit and say, what's next? Okay, then I'm going to have to take more time after I'm sitting in this accomplishment to figure out what that next goal is. Instead, I just take the next step forward the entire time, and kind of what goes in front of you. I guess the easier way to explain it is we all have opportunities put in front of us all the time. And most of the time we're caught up and we don't take our time to see what could that opportunity actually give me. And even if you don't take the opportunity at that time, to know that it's there, right? So I don't set a 6 month, 1 year, anything
Right.
like that. It's I'm going to wake up today. I'm going to do what I can to continue to move forward. And who knows, a year from now, I'm going to be in a place so far beyond what I could have imagined talking to you right now.
Right.
And that's not because I set it to be there. I guess every day is my goal.
Right.
Every day to do
try
what
to
I can.
focus and stay in the.
Yeah, stay in the
Okay.
now, not get caught up in the future because it's not here yet, or some false reality. Because again, if I set a goal and I put all my effort into that goal, and for some circumstance outside of my control, I don't reach it, I personally don't like feeling dissatisfied or lit down.
Right.
I don't like feeling
yeah.
like you can't accomplish something. And we're on worst enemy. I'm going to sit there, and if I
Right,
don't
right,
accomplish
right.
it because I set that goal and for some reason I couldn't do it, why would I ever set another goal? I'm going to sit and be complacent.
Yeah.
Complacency is a killer.
When shit like that happens, I always feel like a balloon that just got popped, and then I'm like all the way down Southern Boulevard, and
It deflates you. Yeah, it's tough, man. And that's, I mean, for me, it's an interesting concept because for me, like goals, I think are huge, at least for me. You know what I'm saying? For me, like, but I definitely understand what you're saying. But the little, like what you were talking about with the puzzle, you know, the little tiny steps and the little tiny, for me, I guess maybe I'm just thinking of it differently, but for me, like the tiny steps that are goals to me, you know, the one piece of the puzzle, you know, the one. So I think we're thinking of the same exact thing. It's just we're looking at it, I guess, differently.
Yeah, I guess I would call it a to-do list.
Right.
Okay. So I have a to-do list every day. Instead of calling it a goal list, it's a to-do list. Because if I don't get it done, you know, today, it's still on my list. And you know what? When I cross that to-do list off, whether it's on the back of an envelope or in my notebook, I start to feel accomplished through the day, and it gives me motivation. It makes me feel good about actually knocking things off.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so yeah, we're essentially thinking of the same thing. I mean, what do you think, Drew?
Oh no, I think that some people need to have goals and they need to have them written down. You know, and I think it really also depends on where you're at in your life. You know, so when I was first developing myself and my career, you know, in work and social life and all this stuff, like I had to have a 1-year goal list.
Okay.
Right. So I had simple things I wanted to accomplish in 1 year. And ultimately what that did for me was allow me to see that I could achieve things that were reachable.
Right.
And then
that's key too.
Well, yeah.
Realistic
setting reachable goals for yourself, achieving them, it kind of gives you that forward momentum and, you know, allows you to see that, hey, I can accomplish things, whether they're big or small, whatever they are. And then once I accomplished those things on my 1 year, then I did a 5-year.
Right.
I did a 5-year. And I believe that I hit almost all of those things. I'd probably say 80-90% of those things. And there's still some things on there, you know, that I need to do. And also I haven't made one in a long time, you know, so it's like, it's time for me to make another one. But I mean, I get what Dennis is saying because I made a goals list on my iPhone and, you know, to do by the end of the year, and a lot of them didn't get done, and they're not gonna, you know, and that's not like the best feeling. But if I don't write them down, they're not, you know, in sight for me. So I guess it depends on where you're at in your life, you know, what you want to accomplish, how you want to get there. And, you know, no matter how you do it, it's just important to have a roadmap on how you're going to get there, because everything in your head is mumbo jumbo. It's all jumbled up there, you know, until you have a way to you know, write it down and navigate it. So however you do it, whether it's to-do list, goal list, you know, you got to keep a notation of it somewhere. That's what I think.
No, and that's exactly what I was thinking. That's actually why at this point I want to, not everyone has to, you know, get involved or put their 2 cents, but I want to basically just set a goal real quick. Essentially, this is what you were saying about, you know, writing it down, putting it somewhere, putting it out there. Very simple, and I want to kind of dive into it a little bit more down the road, but the one goal I want to set right now is to read 12 books next year. Just one. Simple. 1 book a month. And that's something that we're going to be also getting into on our website that we're, you know, working on right now. But Jesse, do you have anything like for the next 6 to 18 months that you wanted to just put out there?
Like in my life?
Any goal?
Honestly, right now, my mind is just saying, backflip a jet ski. That's
a goal. That's a goal.
That's a real goal. It's within reach.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. What about you, Drew?
Sick goal. I support that. I'll egg you on. I'll watch you crash, get hurt, take you to the hospital, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
What about you, Drew?
6 to 18 months.
6 to 18
goals?
months.
Well, I mean, last week we were talking about, you know, what motivates us and keeps us moving forward and all that stuff. And I mean, I have a goal 2019 to have my own business.
Okay.
Ooh.
So just essentially like LLC'd or
No, functioning.
functioning. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, we're coming up into 18 and into 19. I want to be, you know, creating revenue for myself, you know, with my own functioning company, you know,
100%.
LLC, website. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And the great thing about this platform is, like I said, I want to put it out there. I want to put it on wax, and follow up on it, so we'll be able to kind of like look back and not necessarily track 100%, but at least see and kind of be able to see maybe 6 months from now. We'll go over it again.
That'd be pretty cool.
See what we're at.
I mean, I've been wanting to do this for a while. You know, I just never really had, you know, a plan. I never really had a blueprint, you know, I guess you could say. And I was reading, or not reading, I went through Gary Vee's audiobook Crush It, which he wrote in like 2006, which was when the internet and like all the social media platforms were getting, you know, just getting going. And that book is just like a blueprint for how to make money on social media, you know. And even though that it's 10 years old, it's still very, very relevant. And you know, people are making tons of money on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, you know, more than they were back then. And it's just it's all relevant, even though it's old, you know. And you know, I have my own opinions about it, you know. Like I feel like people on the internet are always trying to find ways to make money off people, you know. And I mean, I got that book for free, you know, and most of his stuff is free. But there are, like, I'll be scrolling through Facebook and I'll see, like, right now, and, you know, I know Dennis is all into Bitcoins and all this stuff, and there's always guys, like, releasing strategies on how I made $1 million on Bitcoin and all this stuff. And so, like, social media has those, like, ploys for, you know, how you want to make money, you know, make money fast, this, that, and it kind of, you know, deters me from it. But then you also see like small businesses that use it for growth and that are successful. So like that's the kind of stuff that attracts me to it, you know. And there's always the people who are trying to, you know, get rich quick,
right?
You know, but it's all about patience, you know, and it's all about the long game. So you know, hopefully I can apply some of what I'm learning and, you know, make it happen.
Sure.
No, I agree. And another question, Dennis. So, I mean, just like what Andrew was saying, you know, there's so many people doing so many different things, and whether it's the get rich quick scheme or the slow and steady, what to you, I know it's kind of like it can be a broad question, but what does success look like to you?
Oof. Right? It could be defined so many different ways. You know, a lot of people look at success in a dollar figure, you know, and you see that so much. It's piggybacking off the get rich quick schemes and, you know, things of that nature. Or, you know, success for some people is a family. Right. You know, for me, you know, I never really thought, like, where am I, at what point do I feel like I'm a success, right? When I could say I'm a success right now in comparison to the majority out there, right? You know, you could say, hey, I own a home. I'm married. I've been married over 5 years. You know, I have a healthy relationship. I have people in my life that give a shit about me. You know, I can provide for myself. I've provided for others. You know, I've given other people opportunities. That could be a stance of success. I don't think I have one set thing that would define success for me. I think if I'm sitting here thinking about it on the spot, I've never really sat to think about it. I think it's potentially freedom. You know, a freedom to wake up and do what you want. I remember when I first got married, we spent the night in Atlantic City after we got married, and I was like, man, traveling sucks. You know, traveling sucks. Packing a carry-on, you know, going all this, and I was like, you know what? The day I can travel with a backpack and get on a plane and just go visit somewhere, and if I need a toothbrush, I can go buy one, and I don't need to stress about if I lose, you know, my you know, hoodie in the hotel, or, you know, randomly if I'm stuck somewhere, I can just go on my phone and buy a hotel and not worry about it. And if I could do that at any point, I said that's what I feel like success would be.
And you reached that point.
And I mean, yeah, like right now, if I want, I could hop on my phone, get a flight, go visit my grandma for Christmas, 2 days, grab a backpack, stay in a hotel, not worry about it, come back home, and everything will be fine, right? But now that I'm there, I don't consider that success.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, it's something that's always changing.
It's always changing. It's always evolving. You know, and I think if it doesn't, it goes right back to the goals. You know, if you smash a goal, what's next? Are you just going to sit in that goal the entire time? You know, and let the bathwater get cold? You know, or are you going to continue to move forward and take the next step?
Right.
You know, so I don't know. And when I say freedom, I think it's more or less, you know, like right now I'm in a position where it's a weird feeling. I work for somebody else. I went from working for myself one day, and literally the very next day I signed a piece of paper, and now I'm working for somebody for the next 2 years, right? Mind you, I'm making a set amount of money that potentially could have been more than what I would make on my own, right? But I'm not in control of it. So now I feel trapped. So success in the interim would say if I was able to pivot from there and be free again, right? To be, hey, I can wake up. It's a great tide today. I can go fish. You know, my buddy has off today. We're going to go get some food for breakfast. I can go to a meeting. I can experience stuff. I'm not locked.
Right.
So I think in the interim, success will evolve to when I pivot back.
So you're currently on a schedule, like work schedule.
Yeah, and it's very strange for me.
Okay.
It's
When he shows up.
when I show up. And that's the thing, right? Like I started super gung-ho, right? And I thought this was it. This was the big break, you know?
What you've been looking
And this
to
is
get.
what we've been searching for, and this is what we're looking for, and we reached this pinnacle, right? And now when you hit that spot and you're looking down, you're like, this isn't it, you know? And I talk to other people about what I do, and, you know, I talk to them about, you know, what I make and, you know, things like that. And they're like, man, you fucking got it made, man. And now I understand the saying, the grass is always greener.
Right.
I'm envious at times of the guys who can make 20, 30,000 a year, go home, be happy, take their paid vacation, go places. And when they leave work, their phone can go off.
Right.
Someone's not calling them at 1 in the
Right.
morning. They don't have anxiety when the phone rings. I'm envious of that.
That's
right?
part of like the human condition,
Right,
though. You
right.
know, it's just like you always want what you don't have, or you know, the other side of it.
I mean, I think when you get it, you know, maybe that's not it. You know, and you see like Jim Carrey made like a quote. He's like, I wish everybody could be rich and famous so they can realize that's not the answer.
Right.
Right.
Right. So now
I like that.
what's next? You know, and I think if I can pivot out of this, it's kind of like Drew, we've been on that same train together for the last 4 years. I mean, kind of stuck one way or the other, hustling, and you know, I'm not really happy where I'm at right now. You know, so I'm waiting for that next move, that opportunity to come to pivot.
But you're staying positive. You're staying optimistic about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, you can show up, you can grind. And like I said, I was super gung-ho when it first started. I put everything in, right? And now, if I was working for myself and I had nobody above me, the lows are your own lows, right? And you have nobody above you, or you don't need, a pat on the back type thing, right?
Right.
You're responsible for your own destiny when you're doing those things. So what you put in is what you get out. I'm in a position now, no matter how much I put in, I'm still going to get the same amount out, right? And that's just not how I work, right? So it's, you know, I feel, you know, stuck in this spot where I just don't know what to do next now, right? So now it's hit this point. We're coming up on a year of me doing this, and I'm sitting there, and now I'm in these phases of, you know, right now I'm in a phase of the 3-hour sleep time, right? Because my mind's working, realizing I first went through a month of, you know, fuck this. I don't want to get up. I don't want to go in. This and that. I'm making somebody else rich again. And the thing is I don't need to make myself rich, but as long as I'm providing for myself and it's on my terms, I'm okay about it. I went from that, you know, sleeping in, not caring, to, okay, I'm going to put all my effort into this. I don't care. I'm going to be gung-ho again. To now, it's the sleepless nights. Because now I'm like, you know what? I've been through this before. I need to pivot. What's next? What's going on? Let's write these thoughts down. I'm not
Plotting the next move.
And the thing is, my thought process is not going into where I'm at right now to make myself better in my position, because there's only a maximum amount I can do. I'm capped. I've peaked where I'm at, and I know I'm capable of a lot more. But when there's somebody above you and there's a ceiling, you hit that ceiling and you're like, I know I can't go any higher, so I'm just going to go back down where it's a little more comfortable, so I'm not crammed
Right.
up at the top.
Because once
You
you're
kinda
at
give
that
up.
point too, it's like, why go harder than you have to if there's
Right.
no more gain than what you've already gained?
Yeah, and it's tough. And like Drew was saying, when I actually show up, I get to a point now, like today I woke up, I went to bed last night knowing I'm going to wake up and not fucking go. I'm just not going to go, right? And, it's what, 1 in the afternoon, Drew's calling me. He didn't even call, he knew. You know what I mean? But I felt so free today to just know, like, that's how I want to feel again.
Yeah.
Not to just go fuck off and do whatever you want, but the ability to know that, like I don't have someone that's going to call me and flip out if the tiniest thing is wrong. It's on me.
Yeah, and so have you thought about, because you're talking about like pivoting to the next step, have you thought about what you want to do next? Like what industry, what field? Have you put any thought into that?
Well, it's not necessarily, I never look at like one single thing that I want to focus on, right? I was actually at a meeting, when was it? Friday night? Or Saturday night. I was at a dinner meeting and I was talking to somebody and they said, I really appreciate your transparency. I trust you. Thank you for giving this recommendation. And he stopped and he looked at me and I look up to this guy, he was living behind a dumpster 10 years ago and the guy's, worth a couple million now. And it's not the dollar figure that impresses me. It's the ability to get yourself there and, get yourself literally out of the dumpster. And he said, you'll have moments in your life where opportunity arises in the form of people and you'll meet people. And if you don't realize that that's in front of you and you let it go. And he's like, God will probably put 2 to 3 of these people in your life through a lifetime. If you don't grasp them and hang on, then you're fucked. And that's as easy as he put it, so I don't necessarily have an exact pivot, right? I know I have relationships with people that could benefit me and I could benefit them. So you nurture those relationships. What is
Feel
that?
the ground shaking?
Yeah, what is that?
Neighbors.
Neighbors are like, fuck you in that podcast. You'll never make it anywhere, you bums.
Hitting the ceiling with a broomstick.
It's just the compression. That's why you hear every little sound.
Oh, like compression.
It's the compression level.
No, that makes that, you bring up
Yeah.
a good point though, like the relationships and meeting new people and being open to it, being open and optimistic to the possibility of meeting and nurturing, like you said.
Yeah, you never know what's going to be next. I guess that's the point. If you walk on the fence the entire time, you just got to be ready to jump to whatever side looks okay.
Right.
And that's I think how I've operated for the last 5 years. I never really fully committed to one thing. I've always been open to hop the other direction. So it's not one set thing. I want to go after this and be the absolute best that I possibly can and dedicate all my time there. Like a professional athlete would when they're young. Like that's not the case for me. The case for me is, when an opportunity comes, I'm going to hop on it, see if I can benefit from it, and if I can benefit that person, and do the best I can in that moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you have like tunnel vision on one thing, you might be selling yourself short.
No, that's true. And is there anyone that you admire or look up to? Like it can be, like you said, Jim Carrey. It can be someone famous. It can be someone that you know personally. Is there anyone that you kind of look up to?
In all honesty, there's a couple people that I, not necessarily like admire, is a strong word. There's people that I respect a lot and I look at and, I'm like, man, like I want to be like you when I grow up, even if they're younger than me. I want to be like you when I grow up. And there's a few people, I don't want to, put them on blast necessarily, but there's people in my life which from doing everything that we're talking about, the right people end up showing up and those opportunities arise. I mean, I'll put him on blast, like Drew, right?
Oh, here we go.
Like, for real, like I look up to Drew. Like I look up to Drew in a lot of aspects when it comes to, you know, because again, I don't set those goals, right? So I don't set these goals, and I look up to Drew in the form, it could be the silliest shit, but like his organization and his ability to get shit done in his life or go after something, and even if it's, to me, I can't wrap my head around making some of the decisions that he does, but you know, he's doing it,
right?
And he's finding a way to get these things and do the things that he wants in his life. And whether I remember the first time I ever stepped in the gym was because of Andrew, right? And he made me feel comfortable. It made me feel okay. You know, I look up for Andrew. He's honest with people. He carries himself. He helps the next person. Mm-hmm. You know, and those are the type of things at times I find myself being selfish. Like what we started here, like I don't like humans.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't like people. Like I always think everybody's out to fuck somebody else, or, you know, like the stuff you see on Facebook. So it's hard for me to go out of my way to help somebody else that I don't already know.
But
like
when you have people around you, it rubs off on you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so I mean, it's not to blow him up or anything, but you know, I look up to Drew.
Yeah.
You know, I admire the stuff that he's accomplished, his ability to stay focused and do things and not wander up and show up when he really doesn't want to, things like that. You know, I look up to that. And there's other people in my life that are young, business-minded people that have been self-starters, self-made, you know, and I look up to them for the way that they can carry themselves and provide for themselves. And even when shit looks like it's going to fail, they can pick themselves up and keep moving. And then I don't really have like huge role models.
Right.
You know, growing up, all my role models were BMX riders and pro, you know, skateboarders and stuff like that. Those were my idols. Now it's just kind of, I try to admire the people that are around me and put people who are better than me in my circle.
You just built a new BMX bike, no?
Oh, I built a new one. Yeah, and day one I smashed hard as shit. I thought I could like go out, you know. Oh, I'm good. I was 19, 20. I was doing downside tail whips. I'm 30. You can't just go out and first trick try a downside tail.
When's the last time you rode your bike?
Maybe 2 weeks ago.
That time you crashed?
No.
Oh, you rode it again?
Yeah. I rode it like 2 weeks ago.
Dennis.
Resilience.
Yeah, it was around the block, you know what I mean? But I bought it with this huge, grandiose plan of like, you know what? I'm going to get the nicest bike there is because that means I'm going to ride it a lot more and I'm going to love it. I think I just did that.
So far from the truth.
So far from it. Because like when I was like 18, 19, to build the bike that I just did would take me 3 or 4 years.
You would have been stoked.
I would have been so stoked. If someone gave that to me, it'd be like winning the lottery. You know what I mean?
Spit shining it in the garage at night.
Yeah, exactly. And now I built like this thing that I would have wanted, but I got it and I'm like, that wasn't the best move. Like, you don't realize what it is. Like, I don't think I have it in me to be like, I know the happiness that my bike used to bring me, right?
It's different.
It's different now.
Yeah.
You know, the things that I thought used to bring me happiness, I'm almost trying, and I guess I bought that in a time of my life too when I was like, I'm just not happy right now. Right? So what's going to bring me happiness? You reach back into your memory bank. Right. You know what used to really make me happy? My bike. And I'm in a position right now I can buy a dream bike and build whatever I want. I'm instantly going to hop on and be as happy as I was. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't just the bike at that time that made me happy. It was the freedom, the no worries, the people in my life, the friends, the trips. It wasn't just the bike.
Right.
You know, and I don't realize that till right now when we're just talking about it.
That's exactly how I am with like music. Like I used to play guitar 6 hours a day, like literally in college, and I love that. And now it's like I still have all this gear and like I'll still play from time to time, but it's like very few and far between, and I don't know why I can't quite get into it the way like I used to. But like I don't know, now it's like I have different activities or hobbies that like bring me this same feeling that used to, and I just can't really find it in me. It's almost like the same thing.
You're also talking to a new female friend that might be taking some time.
Blowing me up right now.
No, Dennis, I also wanted to bring up something as well. Actually, kind of take a little off topic, but what's the story behind the trip to Vegas?
Yeah, Dennis.
What was
What's that
it was like
about?
a rally, like
Yeah, so a good friend of mine, right? I was introduced, you know, I guess a little over a year ago, year and a half ago, and it's one of those people, right? I realize that now in this moment, that it's one of those couple people that will come into your life that you hang on to and you nurture and you make sure that, you know, you never lose that person. And it's not necessarily for what they can benefit you from,
Right.
but it's because they're good people, right? And they're good and they're not out to hurt you, right? And that's what I find most people are out to see, what can I get from you,
Right.
without giving you anything in return. Luckily, the people in my life, right, are people that we give, we get, right? We're equals.
Right.
Nobody's better or worse than anybody else. Now, that's one of the people that have come across my path that I feel I'm very, very lucky to have. Now, it was kind of random. I was sleeping and I got woken up from a phone call, and you know, he goes, "Hey, what are you doing November 3rd to 8th?" I said, I don't know why. That's kind of a broad thing. Like, what's happening? He goes, "You're coming out to Vegas. We're gonna do a rally." So I like cars, but I'm not like, you know, a gearhead. You know, I don't know so much about it, but I know what I like. I like to go fast, right? I like the way fancy cars look, you know, exotic cars. I'm just not super huge into it, but he said, we're going to go on a rally. So what it was a Corsa America rally. It was 100 supercars, right? We're talking like Lamborghini Aventadors, Ferraris, you know, every crazy, ridiculous $250,000 to $500,000 cars you can imagine. And he said, we're going to go do this, right? And it's basically, you land in Las Vegas, and 100 supercars drive together. You leave one part, you go to Vegas, leave Vegas, drive to Los Angeles from Vegas, stay in Los Angeles, from Los Angeles to Palm Springs the next day. And then in Palm Springs, we got to do a race, like on a track, like a couple mile track, like a road track. And to see these cars, people ship their cars from all over the world. He shipped his cars, 2 other business partners shipped their cars out. It's like a Lamborghini, a crazy AMG Mercedes, and a tuned GTR that we were driving.
I was loving those Snapchats.
Yeah, dude, I was just about to say.
I was heavy on them. I was like, you know what? Like, this is something I've never experienced.
Right.
And when it first happened, I was like, I don't know if I can leave work.
Right.
I'm like, God,
How many
like
times
that's
do you get to do something like that?
that's the thing,
you know?
right? So I said, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna go no matter what.
Yeah.
And then he goes, what's your email address? About 10 minutes later, I got an email with a flight itinerary and said, you're coming, you're going to be my co-pilot, right? And it was really cool. We got to ride on the track, and then we go back to Vegas for 2 nights. So it was like 5 nights of driving these cars all together. It's kind of like you owned the road. It was like this crazy experience. And the cool thing was, it was networking, right? To meet these people. You look at it and it could be motivation. Like, some people post these pictures of somebody kneeling in front of a Lamborghini with an inspirational quote, right? The Lamborghini isn't the goal for me, right? The Lamborghini isn't the goal. The journey to that point is the goal, and how you got it. And talking to these people who are driving them, they were not snooty people. They were not stuck up. You know, some people have more money than you could fit in a school bus, you know, but you would never know that the way they carry themselves. I think we had dinner with one guy, and we were talking, and you know, there's this big group chat, right, with all the people, so you can communicate, like, oh, there's a cop on this road, or hey, we're meeting here at this time, here's the gas station. So it was on WhatsApp. And the one guy was posting pictures of a warehouse full of dildos, right? And random dicks and fleshlights and shit. And we thought it was like just joking around. He goes, no, that's my warehouse. So this guy is like the nicest mannered guy ever. Him and his fiance were sitting at dinner having at one of the stops one night. And he goes, no, I own the second biggest adult store, like sex shop in the country, next to Hustler. And that's how this guy made his money. And he showed me, he's super proud of his stores and everything. And he's been doing it for 20 years. And he grinded. I'm like, Really, that's who? I never thought that's who I was going
He's
to
like,
meet.
hey, Dennis, check it out. We got dicks of all walks of life.
Pretty much, he's like, if you want anything, you just let me know. You have my number from the chat. I'll ship them out wholesale. I'm like, I don't know what I need
Yeah.
like 47 dicks
You
for.
need them.
You're right.
You
You
need
never know.
You never
You never know. But the big thing for that, I didn't necessarily look at it as like, I can't wait to drive in these cars really fast and be around these fancy cars. It was the networking and meeting people
Yeah.
and building relationships that and an experience, right? Because when will you be able to experience that again, like you said?
Right.
And it was something really cool that I don't regret missing the work. I don't regret the feeling of the stress of if it's going to be okay if I leave, you know. And luckily, I have a super supportive wife that was like, she's like, I'll be mad if you don't go. Like, when is that going to happen?
Yeah.
You know, and it kind of motivated me. Like, that trip was a big eye opener to say, you know, what's next, right? What's next? And you know, it's not about just the dollar. It's like these guys have had a crazy journey. Like I want to kind of do the same thing. What's next for me? So I mean, yeah, that was the rally, you know, in a
Did
nutshell.
you guys get to like split the drive time?
I sat co-pilot the entire time. It was sketchy, man. Like, there's no way I would have felt as comfortable driving that GTR the way that everybody else was.
Well,
I
like,
never
what
drove
was the
it.
average speed though? Are you guys like?
Average speed, I would say, was like a $130 for the entire trip, and we were hitting marks of like 190 on straights, and then
I would have
some
been
of
like, go ahead and drive.
Yeah.
some of the other, and like there's like lane
I'll hand
splits.
you Red Bull.
They're like lane splitting at like 130, you know, and I think the top speed recorded on video that was put in the chat was 212 miles an hour on one of the straights. And these are open roads.
Yeah.
Like, we were out in the desert. It was like 212 miles an hour by, I think, a supercharged Lamborghini or something like that. That was pretty wild.
Dude.
Wow.
Well, the snaps were insane.
I was heavy on the snap. I probably lost, you know, half my...
It was
my
like Kyle at
followers.
a Lady Gaga concert.
No, that was worse. But
I mean, at least you're seeing stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of... The thing was, I was so excited about it,
And
and
you
I
could see
know
it.
that I
That
couldn't
was
bring
fun.
all the
Yeah.
people I cared about. So, like, I wanted to share everything I could in the moment as best as I could. You
Dude,
know,
that was-
I'm not a vlogger, by
Yeah,
any
yeah,
means,
yeah.
No, but that's why I
that was
love
it.
Snapchat,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
for that reason. Like, you got some major event, you can like post all this stuff to your story and then save it to your own personal
Right.
memories.
Yeah, and there's geotags, there's cool filters. Like, I got excited just seeing what filters were at each spot in
Yeah.
Vegas. You know, each hotel had their different one. Or I was in a random spot in Palm Springs in the desert by an airfield, and there's a filter for it. I'm like, here you go, mark this moment in time.
Yeah.
You know, send it out so you guys don't question where I am. Oh, here I am. You know.
yeah. No, that was awesome. I literally got stoked just watching every single one of them.
Yeah, it was really cool to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. To kind of get back to the business, I have a question. What advice would you give to someone who's not necessarily like taking the same route as you, but someone who is trying to get in the entrepreneur field, like someone who's trying to start a business, someone who's trying to, you know, write a book for the first time, or just whatever it is, the entrepreneur field in general? What advice would you give them?
You know, it's when you take that leap, right? That leap, sometimes the leap is made for you, right? Whether you get fired and you had this idea and that moment, right? Everyone has that moment when you take that next step. You can't be consumed by the fear, right? Fear will freeze you. Fear, I feel, is more of a learning experience, right? When you walk through it, because then you realize I shouldn't have been afraid of that so much. And then a lot of people get into it to say, hey, I'm going to do this, and most of them, I'm going to get rich, and I'm going to make the money, and they focus on the money so much, right? And it's kind of cool, like, we are talking about this, like, it's like a tick, like a nervous tick. When I wake up, I check my time hop, and I check on this day on Facebook, right?
I've been doing that a lot lately.
I've been doing it a lot. Like, it's kind of like reminiscing or like seeing where we're at. Just like you said, we're going to record this, and 6 months from now, we're going to listen to it, and we're going to see if Drew knocked his goals out, you know? And I was looking, and I screenshot because I knew I was going to talk tonight. December 16, 2014. And this is like, you know, a year after I was like...
This is on this day, today?
Right? Today's the 16th?
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, you...
Yeah, today, this day, 2014, I made a post, and it was a quote, like, I was sitting there thinking, because when you're working, don't worry about the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about all that. Yes, it's going to be a stressor, but don't let it be the influencer, right? Yes, it will be stress. Yes, there's going to be low times where you're worried about it. Sometimes you have to cut back, right? And all I wrote on there was, money is a byproduct, not the purpose, right? So when you do the right thing, right, and you put the customer first, you put your employees first, and you lose the self-centeredness and the selfishness, and you put it all out there in the universe like that, and you just keep grinding forward no matter how hard it gets, you're going to be taken care of, right? And it's not this mystical made-up thing I'm talking about. It's truth, right? Like if you talk Jeff Bezos, richest guy in the world,
Amazon, right?
Amazon guy, right? If you talk about, in '99 they were interviewing this guy in his office, and his desk was literally a door, a wooden door on 4 2x4s, but he was worth over $1 billion at the time. And the interviewer's like, why do you have a desk that's a door and 4 sticks? He goes, if I got myself a really nice desk and my office was beautiful and my car was great, right? And I was taking care of myself more than I was taking care of my customers, that's not what I'm here for, right? So he put everybody else first. And it's always been that way. Amazon's mission statement is to take care of customer centric, right? Take care of the customer.
Amazon's legit.
Yeah.
Right? How easy it is us as consumers of Amazon, how easy did they make it for us to get what we need? And you never have to call customer service because they made sure that we're taken care of in the first place. Yeah. There's probably one person working customer service because they take care of us on the front end. And I think that's my biggest piece of advice to anybody starting, right? Don't worry about the end product. Worry about what's in front of you. And then as you go on, it will mold itself. Just do the best you can and take care of the people that will help you get there. And it's like I got to a point, right? Like I had a couple dozen employees at the time. All of those guys are getting paid, right? The rent's getting paid in the place. Insurance for the employees are getting paid. Everybody else is getting paid. The business is operating. I'm not getting paid, right? I didn't take care of myself first. I got to a point I had my truck and my wife's car. I had to sell my truck on Craigslist. This is while operating a business with dozens of employees, right? I sold my truck on Craigslist. I sold my iPad. I bought my wife a watch that she really, really wanted. She said it was okay that we return that watch to make sure we have enough to pay our bills, cover our rent, and we start, making the ramen noodles, making sure our rent was paid. I had to feed my dog a little less to make the dog food run out. And this isn't a joke. Like this really
you told
happened.
me this whole story.
Like
too.
I didn't know that.
This really happened, and nobody was. They were none the wiser in the company because everybody else was getting taken care of. And it would have been very easy for me to say, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm getting taken care of. This is my business. You guys should feel lucky to even work here. No. I'm lucky that you guys work here, right? I'm lucky that you guys are putting your faith into me to allow this to happen, right? And right now, if I look back at that, it would have been very easy to say, screw you guys. Sorry, paychecks are delayed a week, and me take that. Right? People do it all the time, right? But because I carried myself that way, now I have people that haven't worked for me for 3 or 4 years. I run into them on the street and they're like, man, thank you. Like, I was really happy working for you, right? And I was like, it blows my mind because at that time I didn't know if it was going to get better. I didn't know if this is what it's going to be or if I'll ever make it to the next step. Right. I just kept moving, so like, there's a lot that goes into it, and things fail when you give up, right? Things fail when you give up. Circumstances happen, right? Sometimes the one thing that you're building, right, may cease to exist, but that doesn't make you stop moving forward, right? One thing doesn't identify you for the rest of your life. I've pivoted 3 or 4 times. I said, this isn't going to work out over the next couple months. Then I go back into the 3-hour sleepless nights,
Right.
And I guess there's not one thing you can tell somebody to start other than know, like, it's going to be okay.
Be patient.
Be patient. It's going to be okay. Just take every day as it comes, do the best you can, and take care of the people around you, because there's not one single person here. Nobody. The people who say they're self-made, nobody is self-made.
Right.
Not one single person I've ever met, millionaire, just billionaire, nobody is self-made. They've all had help to get there.
Yeah.
Whether it was a direct partner with a profit share, or whether it was the employees and the people around them that believed in their vision.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody is self-made. So just keep moving forward and take care of the people around you, and then it will come back and you will be taken care of tenfold.
You know billionaires?
Dude, let him live.
I think I've met one. I think I've maybe met one. Dude, the guys on those rallies, like,
Yeah.
you know, they're you never know. You know what I mean? You can't tell. I see one guy driving, you know, a crazy car, and he's like, I don't. It's a lease. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you have other guys driving, you know, a $50,000 car that their portfolio, they own 1,000 apartment complexes. Yep. You know, so you never really know. But I mean, that's neither here or there. I guess you know, it's you know, how they carry themselves. And I've never met a successful person that will continue to have success. They might be a short spike that treats everybody else around them like shit.
But I think it is a pretty big shift. I mean, just I don't know if it's just the people that I'm consuming, because, you know, people that I listen to, people that I choose to, I guess, be influenced by. All of those people have very similar traits in that, just like what you're saying, you know, they're decent human beings. You know, so I guess I can't really say that, because I was about to say that that's like the trend that I'm seeing, is that you're seeing more and more people kind of go towards that route of, like, you know, Gary Vee, for example. You know, someone, I don't know if you have you heard
a little bit. I'm always the guy tagging Andrew to be like, shoot holes in his stuff. Like when he talks, you know, or someone asks him a question, he's never really directly answering the question or giving advice. He's just saying, like, you know what? If you don't do it, you might as well fucking kill yourself. You know? Because so you know what? The shit's gonna end, and if you're not on the fucking bus, you know, you just shut the fuck up and do it. And they were like asking him what the temperature was outside. You know what I mean? Like,
we talked about it. Yeah.
But there are good things. You know what I mean? I'm just, maybe I'm a hater. You know?
But I definitely, my girlfriend absolutely despises him. Every time she's like, "Oh, is it that guy again, Gary Vee?" No, but there are some videos where he's kind of I see what you're saying, but his core message, and I've heard, I do consume a lot of the content, like his core message is, you know, that whole do things right. And obviously I don't see him, I don't know him, I don't see what he does or how he acts, like, outside of the content, but, you know, the people, and that, I guess the next thing that I wanted to ask is, like, how important is it to maintain, like, an optimistic influence? So whether that's, like, the music you listen to, the content you know, take in, the people you surround yourself with, what you watch on TV, like, all of it is an influence to me personally, you know, everything. So how important is it to you to keep, you know, yourself from not watching 2 hours of, like, CNN or something where it's like, you know, chaos and the world sucks and this sucks, and music that's like, oh, everything's gloom and doom, and people that are negative? Like, how important is it to you?
Like, I don't watch the news.
That's good.
You know, I kind of look at it as, and even like the motivational speakers, I know, I hear Andrew listening to them all the time, right? He's got the motivation manifesto right over his desk, you know, and he listens to a lot of these guys and things of that nature. I myself, I don't get too fired up from motivational speakers, right? What fires me up is the action, right? In real life, right? So seeing someone take care of somebody else for nothing, right? Seeing somebody give someone a ride to the airport at 3 a.m. because they need it. That's the motivation I need, right? Seeing someone get to that next step from doing the next right thing. So real life, reality, like what I can tangibly I can see it, I can touch it, I've experienced it. That's the stuff that motivates me. I feel like everything else, like the motivational speakers, it to me it's too much of a fairy tale to grasp. I have to actually be a part of it, or I've witnessed it, right? So not just throwing the dice and hoping that it lands on a 7. You know, I need to have some understanding of what the equation is there with the stuff.
I think they are fairy tales, yeah, and there's some guys who, you know, just do it for money, and but for me, it's like about the mindset that it puts you in. And ultimately, I believe that, you know, us 4 wouldn't be sitting here if we weren't consuming, you know, that type of content.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And some people will get what they need out of it. I'm not knocking. I'm not sitting here like against motivational speakers by
I
any
wasn't
means.
saying
You
you
know,
were knocking it.
you know, it's more along the lines for me personally, right? Like I'm grateful they're there so that we can be in a spot like this, because I guess if you pick one little thing out of it, even if it's you get motivated, not around the topic. So my understanding, like you're not motivated about the actual topic. They could be talking about flipping a house, right? You have no intention of flipping a house, but based on the tonnage of how they're talking and getting it together, and that they're getting other people hyped up, it might hype you up for something completely different, right? To get you out of that mundane state of the grind, right? So at that point, it serves an amazing purpose for many people. You know, it's just in the context of the question, for me personally, for motivation, what I need to consume in my life to keep me optimistic and keep me moving forward, or is the actual people that I have in my circle, right?
I second that.
No, it's a huge part. It's a huge part. I mean, just like you said, it doesn't matter what the content really is about necessarily. It's just what you get from it, what you take away from it. You know, the whole message of it, I guess, at its core. But yeah, like Drew said, I mean, if we didn't consume the content, we probably wouldn't be sitting here unless Jesse, you know.
I would be sitting here.
Well, yeah, because it's your house.
Jesse would be sitting here with himself, testing his levels, and
Oh, these levels look great. I wish I had someone to record. You know, I guess
hold on,
So
hold on,
true,
guys.
actually.
The compression is off.
that's what that bumping noise
compression.
is.
Let me go ahead and throw a noise gate on this real quick.
No, but that's pretty much it. That's the questions that I had. I don't know if you guys had any other questions that you guys wanted to ask.
Nope, the GoPro's shutting off, so we're
GoPro's
done.
really pissing me off right now.
That's a sign right there. So, again, I want to thank Dennis for coming out. I mean, this is the first interview that we're doing. We're planning to have a lot more people come out. And just like you said, man, the people that you meet, the people that you interact with, I've already set up a few sit downs and this is actually, you know, funny enough, something I got from Gary Vee. You know, basically one of his advice was, you know, if you know someone that you kind of admire to a certain extent, offer them a free lunch, free sit down, just to kind of talk with them, just like you said, just interacting with people, and this is giving me an excuse to do that.
That's awesome. You know, when you're out there, I remember when I was a kid, you'd see people with the fancy cars or the nice houses, and you'd sit and wonder in your head how they get it. Why? What's stopping you from going up and asking them, hey, what do you do? How'd you get that? All right.
Exactly.
So same thing. This is a great avenue, a great, you know, launch pad for you guys to see what's going on, to let other people see what's going on, right? We're living in an age where it's content based, right? You guys are listening to it. You're going to put something together. Hopefully other people listen to it. And even if they get one fraction, one iota of something out of it, you know, you did something awesome. And if not, at least you got something out of the deal, right?
Agree 100%, man. So yeah, and I also want to cap it off here, I also want to bring up, I mentioned it earlier, but the whole goal of the 12 book project, we're going to be putting out a lot more content. I'm going to be setting up like a blog, and we're basically going to be reviewing this and kind of opening up to people that listen.
Well, how does the whole thing work?
So
I'm just going to read Holes every month for 12 months.
It's actually
What's the first book even?
Well, we're gonna discuss it. I think we picked it, but I don't have it like on me right now. But we're basically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set it up to where we pick a book once a month, and we basically read it. And actually, I was talking to Dennis before before Andrew came over, and he mentioned something that was I completely overlooked. and that is to create a newsletter, right? So basically, instead of doing it once a month where we say, okay, we're reading this book this month, next month we're going to go ahead and like recap and review and kind of let our listeners take a part of that and commit themselves to reading 12 books in a year. He brought up the concept of doing it instead of monthly. We can still do the monthly on the podcast, but doing a weekly newsletter to where, okay, so this week we're going to go over 3 chapters.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, make it, just like we talked about the puzzle, breaking it down even further to where, you know, we're holding each other accountable. They're you know, finding more of a reason to kind of read it. So they're not like, okay, they're putting out this newsletter reviewing the first 3 chapters and I haven't read it yet. Right. I don't want it to ruin it. You know, and the great thing is that we're picking books that are, you know, focusing on what we're talking about, business, you know, inspiration, motivational type of books. And so, yeah, we have the website set up, www.theeverydayhustleshow.com. It is going to be live here within the next week or 2.
Same thing with Instagram and all that jazz, Twitter.
Everything, Twitter, Facebook, everything. And you'll be able to find it all on the website as well. So the logo is almost done.
The first book we're going to read is The Power of Moments.
There you go.
Thank you for that, Andrew.
Who's the
by
author?
Chip and Dan Heath. And I'm already an hour into it. Shit's deep, fam.
Dude, is it good?
To it? You know what? I have an Audible account too.
Yeah.
That's the way I have
an Audible
I haven't
account,
read
yeah.
a book besides A Song of Ice and Fire since college.
No, but Audible is good though. I just got that myself, and I mean I want to read the content more, but I just got Audible and it's almost like podcasts. You know, you can listen to it on your way to work. And
I've been I've been accidentally paying for Audible for like a year and haven't used it, so this gives me a good reason to not cancel it.
There you go. So we'll be putting out more content. We're gonna be releasing this hopefully soon. And check out www.theeverydayhustleshow.com to figure out how you can get involved. And I will also be giving out a free book as well after we get our first 100 subscribers. Excuse me.
Ooh, giving out to whom? Like a giveaway type thing?
Yeah, giveaway. So
you know how you're gonna do that?
Yeah. There's a few different like apps and stuff that you can kind of generate and stuff like that. So thanks again for everyone, and thank you, Dennis, for coming out.
Thank you so
thanks
much
for having me.
And,
you had a bunch of excellent points, man.
Check it out.
Once I start talking, I don't shut up, and sometimes it doesn't make sense.
That's what we
No,
need
it
around
made
here.
100% sense, man. So thank you again, and stay tuned.